How do you respond to God's discipline in your life? How do you respond? Welcome to the Daily Devo. I am Vince Miller. This week we're reading through 1 Samuel chapter 5. This chapter recounts the Philistines' capture of the Ark of the Covenant of God and the subsequent divine intervention that will lead it back to its rightful place. So I have titled this chapter, Clearing the Path to Glory. Clearing the Path to God's Glory. So at the end of the last chapter and the beginning of this chapter, Israel has sustained some very severe losses. The wife of Phinehas summarized it well in verse 22 of chapter 4 when she said, "The glory has departed from Israel, for the ark of God has been captured." This sad ending in chapter 4 marks an abrupt conclusion to a once glorious period for Israel. It represents a dark time of profound loss for God's people. And if you have experienced similar moments in your life, you understand the feeling that this brings. These moments are characterized by the darkness and overwhelming despair, often leaving us uncertain on how to respond or react. But then we come upon the key verse of chapter 5. It is in verse 6. It reads, "The hand of the Lord was heavy against the people of Ashdod, and he terrified and afflicted them with tumors, both Ashdod and its territory." The language here, the heavy hand of God, is a great metaphor for this chapter. It describes God's tangible involvement in human affairs in profound and often very mysterious ways. But this metaphor takes us back to another place where similar language was used, and that, of course, is Egypt. In the book of Exodus, God's heavy hand is displayed in numerous times through many mighty plagues against the Pharaoh that deliver his people from bondage. God's heavy hand had been an image of the forceful discipline that he used to bring about his glory. Thus, in the previous chapter, we witness God's heavy hand against Israel. Then in this chapter, chapter 5, we witness his heavy hand against the Philistines. And I couldn't help but notice when I was reading chapter 5 that Israel regrets God's heavy hand against them, but then relishes in God's heavy hand against others. You know, God disciplines us all. Sometimes his hand is heavy, and other times it is light. He disciplines us in public and private, sometimes great or even small, but it always has a purpose. His discipline directs us to his glory. You see, God's glory never fades, but we fail to reflect it sometimes. He does not need us to sustain his glory, but he does want us to know it and enjoy it and celebrate it and praise it, but never abuse it, use it, misuse it, and defame it. The key is understanding how to submit to his discipline so that we can see his glory. In chapter 5, we will see the ark of God move from Philistine town to town until it finally returns to Shiloh. And today I'll put a little map over here so you can kind of see how it travels. It is carried from Shiloh to battle at Ebenezer. Then it is captured and taken into Philistine territory at Ashdod. That's verse 6. Then it is carried down to Gath, then to Ekron, and then finally it returns to Shiloh. Some mysterious, heavy-handed events occur that hold fascinating lessons for us, and you will have to join me for the next 6 days to discover them all. I love you guys. I pray this has blessed you. If it has, share it with someone you know, and I'll see you right back here again tomorrow.